continuation of When a Peace Required Husband. If you didn't watch part 1, please visit our channel or our playlist. Welcome to BL Without Labels, where the story isn't defined by words. Stay with the story. Support us. Chapter 9, We Pretended It Meant Nothing. We don't talk about the kiss. That's the rule we never agreed on but somehow both follow. The morning after, he acts normal, too normal. Coffee exactly how I like it. His sleeve brushing my wrist like it's accidental. His smile sharp enough to pretend nothing cracked between us. I hate him for that. I hate myself more. Because every time he gets close, my body remembers before my brain does. The kiss wasn't supposed to last. It wasn't supposed to linger. And it definitely wasn't supposed to ruin the way I breathe around him. We're still pretending to be the perfect couple. Still holding hands in public. Still sharing fake smiles that feel dangerously real. Relax, he mutters under his breath when I stiffen. You'll blow our cover. Cover, right? That's all this is. But then his thumb rubs slow circles into my palm. Too intimate for acting, and I nearly lose the plot. Night, it's worse. The space between us feels louder than words. Every sound, fabric shifting, his breath, the faint hitch when I turn, lands heavy in my chest. I don't sleep. I replay the kiss instead. The way he froze for half a second before kissing me back harder. The way my name sounded like a confession in his mouth. Addiction isn't dramatic. It's quiet. It's craving something you're not allowed to ask for. The worst part? I don't know if he's pretending anymore. Because when I catch him looking at my lips, just for a second, he looks away like he's already lost. And that scares me more than wanting him ever did. Chapter 10, he kissed me like it was a mistake. We break character in the most pathetic way possible. It's not dramatic. No shouting. No confessions. Just silence stretched too tight. We're alone. No audience. No reason to perform. He's pacing. I'm sitting. That alone feels like a power imbalance. Say something, he finally mutters. I laugh soft. Ugly. About what? He stops. Looks at me like he wants to shake the truth out of my ribs. The kiss, he says. Just the word. Like it burns. There it is. I shrug, pretending my chest isn't collapsing inward. It was an accident. The lie tastes familiar, comfortable, almost safe. His jaw tightens. It didn't feel like one. Neither did the way he kissed me back. I stand. Big mistake. The air between us shifts instantly, electric, reckless. I can feel him without touching him. That's the problem. That's always been the problem. We were drunk, I say. Lines blur. I don't blur, he snaps. Then quieter, like it slips out. Not with you. That hits harder than any confession. I turn away before my face gives me away. Then forget it. He laughs once. Sharp, humorless. You think I haven't tried? Silence again. This one hurts. I expect him to leave. I want him to. He doesn't. Instead, he steps closer. Close enough that I can feel the heat of him at my back. Close enough that my pulse betrays me. Tell me to stop, he says. My throat closes. Because if I do, he will. And if I don't, I turn. The kiss isn't gentle this time. It's desperate. Messy. Like we're trying to erase the first one and only making it worse. My hands fist in his shirt before I can think. This isn't pretending anymore. When we break apart, breathing hard, his forehead rests against mine. This can't happen, he whispers. I nod. Too fast. We both know what that means. It's already happening. Chapter 11. Someone always notices. The palace does not miss anything. Not the way servants pause when we enter a room together. Not the way generals suddenly find reasons to stand closer than necessary. Not the way his hand lingers at my back a second too long before remembering itself. We are careless. Not loudly. Quietly. Which is worse. At breakfast, he sits across from me. Posture perfect. Expression unreadable. The table between us feels wider than the border we married to protect. You didn't sleep, he says without looking up. I did. I lie. He hums, unconvinced. You keep lying badly. It's becoming a habit. I stab my food harder than necessary. You're one to talk. A pause. Then, very softly, I didn't say I slept either. That's when I feel it. Eyes, not just his. I glance up and catch the Chancellor watching us with polite interest sharpened into suspicion. He smiles when our eyes meet, the kind that doesn't reach anything human. My stomach drops. Later, in the corridor, a maid bows too deeply. Another whispers behind her sleeve. Somewhere, a laugh cuts off too abruptly. Rumors don't need proof. They just need patterns. That night, he corners me in the study. We need distance, he says immediately. I scoff. From each other or from the truth? From disaster. He snaps, then exhales. This was never supposed to be complicated. You married me, I say. That was the complication. His eyes flicker. Anger, something softer, something dangerous. You think I don't know? He moves closer, then stops himself like he's reached an invisible line. They're watching, he says. If they think this marriage isn't controlled, they'll test it. I finish. He nods once. Silence settles between us, heavy with things we're not saying. So, I say lightly, too lightly, back to pretending? His jaw tightens. Pretending was easier before. Before we wanted. Before we noticed. Before stopping felt like punishment. Footsteps echo outside the door. He steps back instantly, mask sliding into place like armor. Smile tomorrow, he says. Hold my hand. Laugh at my jokes. I raise a brow. You're not funny. A ghost of a smile tugs at his mouth before he kills it. They don't need funny. They need convincing. The door opens. We turn together, perfectly composed. If only they knew how fragile this piece really is, and how close it is to shattering. Chapter 12, the kiss we didn't mean to survive. It happens because we're angry. That's the excuse I'll use later. The door slams shut behind us. Too loud, too careless. My pulse is already racing, and I don't know if it's fear or him. You smiled too much today, he says. I laugh, sharp, defensive. You told me to be convincing. Not like that. His voice drops. Not like you enjoyed it. I step closer without realizing it. Maybe I did. That's when his restraint cracks. Not loudly, not violently, just gone. His hand catches my wrist, not rough, but firm enough to stop me from pretending I don't feel this. I should pull away. I don't. Do you know what you're doing to me? He asks, breath close, words barely holding together. I swallow. Do you know what you're doing to me? Silence. Then his forehead presses against mine, like he's trying to ground himself, like he's losing. This is a mistake, he murmurs. I nod. We keep making it. The kiss isn't rushed. That's what scares me. The slow, hesitant at first, like he's asking permission he already knows I'll give. When I don't pull away, his grip tightens just a little, like relief. The world narrows to warmth and breath and the quiet sound he makes when I kiss him back. This one isn't drunk, isn't accidental, isn't something we can laugh off later. When we finally part, my forehead rests against his chest. I can hear his heartbeat. It's not calm. We can't keep doing this, he says. I close my eyes. You didn't stop. Neither of us moves. Outside, the palace breathes. Alive, watchful, waiting. Inside, something fragile and dangerous takes root between us. And I know, with awful clarity, the next time we kiss, it won't be because we're angry. It'll be because we don't know how to stop. Chapter 13, the price of being seen. Someone clears their throat outside the door. Not loudly, not accidentally, deliberately. We freeze. His hand drops from my wrist instantly, like he's been burned. I step back too fast, heart slamming against my ribs. The door opens. It's the Chancellor. Of course it is. He smiles, slow and polite, eyes flicking once, just once, between us, measuring distance, breath, guilt. I hope I'm not interrupting, he says. You are, my husband replies smoothly. Too smoothly. The Chancellor chuckles. Ah, newlyweds. Still adjusting. His gaze lingers on my mouth. I hate him for noticing. We were discussing border supply routes. I say, forcing calm into my voice. Were you? The Chancellor asks. Fascinating. I hadn't realized strategy required such proximity. The air turns sharp. My husband steps forward, subtly placing himself between us. A shield. A warning. If you have business, he says coldly, state it. The Chancellor bows. Only a reminder. Appearances matter, especially when peace is so fragile. He leaves. The door closes. The silence after is unbearable. They know, I whisper. They suspect, he corrects. Which is worse? He runs a hand through his hair, agitation finally cracking his composure. If this becomes scandal, if they think I've lost control, you'll be replaced, I say quietly. And you, he adds, voice tight, will be used. That lands harder than fear. I laugh once, hollow. So that's it. He looks at me like this hurts him too. This ends. I nod. I hate that part of me is relieved. We do our duty, he continues. Public smiles. No more mistakes. I force myself to meet his eyes. And in private? There's a pause. A dangerous one. Distance, he says. Even if it kills me. I step back first this time. When I leave the room, I don't look back. But later that night, alone in our shared quarters, I find something on my pillow. A single ribbon the color of his house. No note. No explanation. Just proof that ending something doesn't mean it's gone. And I realize the kiss didn't ruin us. What comes next will. Chapter 14. Distance is louder than fighting. Distance has rules. We follow them perfectly. Court, he stands one step away from me. Not cold. Not warm. Correct. His hand never finds mine unless eyes are watching. And when it does, it's brief, practiced. I smile when I'm supposed to. Laugh at the right moments. I play the role so well I almost forget it's a role. Almost. At meals, we speak of weather and troop movements. Never of the space between us. Never of the nights that stretch too long. Especially not of the dreams. Servants praise us. Ministers relax. The Chancellor watches, displeased. Peace stabilizes. I unravel. That evening, I find him in the training courtyard. Sword in hand. Movements sharp, relentless. Like he's punishing the ground for existing. You'll ruin the blade, I say lightly. He doesn't stop. Blades are meant to be used, not abused. That makes him pause. He turns, sweat darkening his collar, expression carefully blank. You shouldn't be here, I shrug. It's my home too. A beat. Then, quietly, not like this. That's the first honest thing he's said in days. I step closer, then stop myself. Old habits die hard. You said distance, I remind him. Yes. His jaw tightens. And you make it difficult. I laugh softly. You're the one swinging a sword like it's my fault. His eyes flicker. Pain, irritation, something aching. Do you know, he says, voice low, what it's like to sit beside you and not touch you? To pretend I don't know the sound of your breathing when you sleep. My heart stutters. I shouldn't let this continue. So stop noticing, I say. He laughs once. Bitter. If I could, this would be easy. Silence settles again. Heavy and unspoken. Footsteps approach in the distance. He straightens instantly, mask snapping back into place. I'll walk you back, he says formally. We don't touch. That night, lying alone in our shared bed, a careful distance of pillows between us, I stare at the ceiling. His back is to me. But his hand clenches in the sheets like it's holding onto something invisible. And I know, distance isn't saving us. It's just teaching us how to ache quietly. Chapter 15. What matters more? The night is quiet. No whispers in the halls. No watching eyes. Just the soft sound of breathing and the space we've been pretending is safety. I turn on my side. So this is how we survive? I ask softly. By pretending we don't care? He doesn't answer at first. Then, I thought distance would protect you. I smile sadly. From what? From me, he admits. that makes me turn fully toward him. His face is half lit by moonlight, all sharp edges softened into something human. I didn't marry you for protection, I say, or peace, or duty. His brow furrows. Then why? Because somewhere between treaties and pretending, I whisper, you became important. He exhales slowly, like he's been holding that breath for weeks. I've fought wars, he says quietly. I know how to lose men, land, honor. His voice drops. I don't know how to lose you. Silence stretches, but this one feels gentle. I reach out. This time, I don't stop myself. His hand meets mine immediately, like it's been waiting. Love is reckless, he murmurs. So is peace, I reply. But they still fight for it. He turns fully toward me then. No masks, no distance. This marriage was meant to end a war, he says. And maybe, I say softly, it can start something worth protecting. He leans in, not rushed, not desperate, just certain. The kiss is simple, warm, real. When we part, his forehead rests against mine. We'll be careful, he says. I smile. Together. Outside, the world still demands obedience. But in this quiet space between heartbeats, we choose something else. Not because it's safe, because it matters. Chapter 16, My husband, the general. I forget sometimes. Not because he lets me, but because with me he softens. Then the world reminds me. It happens during court. The chancellor speaks too freely. A suggestion wrapped in politeness, edged with insult, about my conduct, my influence, my place. I open my mouth. He doesn't let me speak. My spouse speaks with my authority, he says calmly. The room stills. I turn to look at him. He hasn't raised his voice. He doesn't need to. His posture is relaxed, but his eyes are sharp, commanding in a way that makes even seasoned generals straighten. You question him, he continues. You question me. Silence. The chancellor bows. Lower than before. I feel it then, the shift, the recognition, the truth settling into the room like a drawn blade. This is not just a marriage of peace. This is power. Later, in private, I tease him for it. You enjoy that too much. He arches a brow. You forget who you married. I step closer. No, I forget what you carry. His expression softens, but only for me. I carry responsibility, he says, for this country, for this peace. Then quieter. For you. I swallow. You don't have to shield me, I say. He cups my face gently, thumb brushing my cheek. I want to. That's when it clicks fully. He is my husband, and he has authority not over me but for us. When he stands tall, the world listens. When he chooses me, the world adjusts. And for the first time, I don't feel like a peace exchanged for peace. I feel like the one standing beside the man who commands it. Chapter 17, Morning makes it real. Morning light is merciless. It finds everything. The curtains haven't been drawn properly, and pale gold spills across the bed. Across his arm draped over my waist like it belongs there. Because it does. For a moment, I don't move. I listen. His breathing is slow, even the kind that only comes with real rest. Not the sleep of a general always half awake, but something deeper, something earned. I turn carefully, just enough to look at him. In daylight, he looks younger, less carved from command, more human. The lines of control soften. The authority doesn't disappear. It settles, quieter but no less solid. He wakes when I shift. Of course he does. You're staring, he murmurs, eyes still closed. Am I not allowed? One eye opens. Amused. You are. Just be honest about why. I consider lying. Decide against it. I wanted to see if last night changed anything. Now he's fully awake. He props himself on one elbow, gaze steady. And I inhale. It didn't feel like pretending. His expression turns serious. Not heavy, just sure. It wasn't. That settles something in me I didn't realize was still unsteady. He reaches out, thumb brushing the inside of my wrist, grounding. Familiar now. Today, he says, they'll watch us more closely. I nod. Because peace looks different now. Because we do. Silence, but not the painful kind. Will you regret it? I ask quietly. He doesn't hesitate. No, not duty, not strategy, just truth. He stands, already slipping back into composure, but before the armor fully locks in place, he turns and offers me his hand. Not commanding, inviting. As my husband, he says, you walk beside me, not behind. I take his hand. Outside this room, politics wait. Power waits. War watches from the edges. But this morning I know exactly where I stand. And this time, the world will have to adjust to us. Chapter 18, Walking Beside Him. The court is already full when we arrive. Conversations quiet, not abruptly, but noticeably. Eyes follow us, sharp with interest disguised as respect. He doesn't release my hand. That is new. I feel it immediately, the subtle ripple through the room. This isn't performance. It isn't the careful distance we practiced before. This is deliberate. A general approaches, bowing deeply. My lord, my respects to your spouse. The emphasis is clear. He inclines his head. Speak freely. He stands with me, not behind, not through. With the chancellor watches from across the hall, expression unreadable, calculating. I meet his gaze and don't look away. If he notices the difference in me, he doesn't comment. Later, during council, a dispute rises. Voices sharpen, tempers thin. It's the kind of moment where power shows itself not in force, but in certainty. He listens. Then he speaks once. That matter is settled. The room stills. No one challenges him. I don't interrupt. I don't need to. But when a minister glances at me, questioning, he adds calmly, my husband has my full confidence. If you doubt his counsel, you doubt mine. The weight of that lands harder than any oath. After the session, as we walk the corridor, I let out a breath I didn't realize I'd been holding. You're making enemies, I say lightly. He glances down at me. I already had them. And the lies. His hand tightens around mine. Just enough. I'm choosing one. That evening, alone again, the palace feels less like a cage and more like a fortress. Are you sure? I ask him softly. About tying your authority so closely to me? He studies me for a long moment. Power means nothing if it costs the person I chose, he says. Peace means nothing if it's empty. I lean into him. For the first time since the treaty was signed, I don't feel like an offering. I feel like a partner, and the court can watch all it wants. We're no longer pretending. Chapter 19, The Price of Standing Together. The strike doesn't come loudly. It never does. It comes folded inside politeness. An invitation arrives before noon, sealed, formal, unavoidable. A private council session. Restricted attendance. My name is not on the list. I see it the moment he does. No, he says calmly. The messenger stiffens. My lord, the council insists. Matters of state. They summoned me, he replies, tone even dangerous. They will accept my terms. The messenger bows and retreats, rattled. I watch him carefully. This is because of me. He doesn't deny it. Yes, that honesty still catches me off guard. You don't have to fight every battle, I say, especially not one meant to corner you. He steps closer, hands settling on my shoulders, steady, grounding. They want to separate us, he says quietly, to remind me what power costs. And if you bring me, ask, they'll push harder. I consider that, then lift my chin. Then let them. The council chamber is colder than usual. Eyes turn the moment we enter, together. The chancellor smiles like he's already won. My lord, this council was meant to be confidential. It is, my husband says. My spouse is not excluded from my confidence. Murmurs ripple. The chancellor folds his hands. Then let us speak plainly. Concerns have arisen regarding influence. A general so personally invested may struggle to remain impartial. I feel it then, the trap tightening. Before I can speak, he does. Impartiality is not the absence of feeling, he says. It is the discipline to act despite it. The room stills. You fear I will choose him over the state, he continues. You are wrong. I choose the state with him. Silence. The Chancellor's smile thins. And if peace demands sacrifice? My husband's hand finds mine. Then it will not demand this one, he says. I have already given enough. That is not defiance. That is declaration. When we leave the chamber, the corridors feel longer, heavier. You drew a line. I say quietly, yes, he replies, then looks at me. Did I cross one? I squeeze his hand. No. You showed them where you stand. He exhales, tension bleeding out slowly. Good, he murmurs. Because stepping back isn't an option anymore. Neither is hiding. For better or worse, the court now understands something dangerous. Peace has teeth, and it wears our names together. Chapter 20, Peace chosen. The court waits. They always do. For weakness. For hesitation. For the moment power fractures. They don't get it. The final council convenes at dusk. Light slanting through high windows like judgment. Documents are laid out. Seals ready. The Chancellor watches us with the patience of someone who expects history to bend. He is wrong. When my husband speaks, it isn't sharp. It isn't loud. It's final. The treaty stands, he says. Borders secured. Trade restored. Command unified. A pause. And my marriage, he continues, is not a liability. I feel every eye turn to me. It is stability, he finishes. Because I do not rule alone. The Chancellor opens his mouth. I speak first. I was offered as peace, I say calmly. I chose to stay as commitment. The room stills. I advise. I listen. I stand beside the one who carries command. I meet the Chancellor's gaze. If that threatens you, perhaps the problem isn't influence, but fear. Silence. Then one by one heads bow. Not to me. Not to him. To us. Later, when the palace finally exhales, we stand on the balcony overlooking the city. Lanterns glow below like quiet stars. So, I say lightly, did we survive? He smiles, real this time. Unarmored. We did more than that. He takes my hand. No hesitation. No performance. We chose, he says. I lean into him, watching the city at peace. Not perfect, not eternal, but real. I never wanted to be a symbol, I admit. You aren't, he replies. You're my husband. The words settle easily now. Not a title. Not a treaty. A truth. Below us, life continues. Tomorrow will bring politics, conflict, difficult choices. But tonight, peace stands. Not because it was demanded, because it was chosen. By both of us. Special chapter, the night I remembered who he was. Night changes him. Or maybe it strips him down to what he's always been. The lamps are low. Shadows stretch across the room, warm and heavy. I'm half reclined against the pillows, loose and unguarded in a way daylight never allows. He closes the door behind him. The sound is final. I smile lazily. You're late, General. He stops, slowly turns. That look, the one that reminds me the battlefield lives in his bones. Slides over me, calm and assessing. Stand, he says. Just that. No edge. No anger. My pulse jumps anyway. I obey before I can think better of it. Feet touching the floor. Posture straightening out of habit. He notices. Of course he does. Good, he murmurs. You remember. Remember what? I ask softer now. He steps closer, fingers brushing my wrist. Not restraining, just grounding. That you chose me, he says, and that I will always take responsibility for what I claim. Claim. The word settles low and warm. He guides me back. Not pushing, not rushing, until I'm seated again, this time between his knees. His presence is everywhere. Heat, weight, certainty. You don't need to test me, he says quietly. Not tonight. I tilt my head, teasing despite myself. And if I want to? His thumb presses under my chin, lifting my face until I'm forced to meet his eyes. Then I'll remind you, he says, why you're safe doing so. The kiss is slow, unavoidable, not demanding, decisive. Tells me exactly where I stand and that I'm wanted there. When he pulls back, our foreheads rest together. I won't cross lines you don't offer, he whispers. But once you step into my space, I won't pretend I don't have authority. I breathe him in. I didn't ask you to pretend. That's all it takes. The rest of the night unfolds quietly. Measured touches, shared warmth. His arm firm around me like a vow he doesn't need to speak aloud. When sleep finally claims me, it's with the weight of him at my back, breath steady, hands secure at my waist. Not possession, protection. And I fall asleep knowing he is my husband, and tonight I let him lead. Thank you for walking this journey with us. This was never just a story about peace or power, but about choosing love when it would have been easier to obey. If this ending moved you, stay with us, because some stories don't end here. If the story touched you, like to support the journey, share with someone who loves BL stories. Subscribe for the next chapter of BL Without Labels.